Good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending the May meeting of the Michigan Financial Wellness Network. And this is Kelly Masters, as you know, coordinator of our network. Today's meeting is a celebration, a thank you, and another opportunity for everyone to make connections, share resources, problem solve as necessary. And also we want to talk about what's next. Now that Financial Literacy Month is very, recently in the rearview mirror, what do we want the summer to look like as a network? And I also need to find out kind of what is happening, what is on the horizon for the next 4 months so that I can sufficiently plan our summer meetings. Make sure that you have June 8th on your calendar. That is set for sure. June 8th, you'll notice that it is a week later in the month than normal, just because I wanted to avoid the week of the Memorial Day holiday. I will also apologize for the way I sound. I don't know if it's just really bad allergies or if I have a spring cold, but I feel like I'm in a fishbowl. So apologize for the way I sound this morning. Although Financial Literacy Month of April is behind us, I want to remind people that all of our graphics and the branding for the Michigan Financial Wellness Network and the work that we do collectively year-round are still available on our website, or I can email them to you. So if you're doing programming in May, June, July, August, September, please feel free to use the graphics. And these are just a few samples of what is available. But if you go to the partners page of our Michigan Financial Wellness website, you can download those to a local device and use them for all of your marketing and outreach and for your materials that you use year-round, not just for the month of April. I continually need to thank our underwriting partners that make so much of our work possible. Ally Financial, the Michigan Credit Unions, Raymond James, and specifically Anthem Advisors, of course, MCEE as our fiscal agent. And I will share later that we have already planned for the fall some pretty big initiatives that we will be looking for underwriting partners to support. We'll talk about those later. But now that we are a year-round initiative and not just an 8-day campaign, we do have things happening throughout the year that require both promotion and marketing as well as underwriting. So there are opportunities for organizations interested in supporting some of these other projects. If you haven't yet done so, please like our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter, My Financial Wellness and My FinWellNet respectively. Also collaboration form, if you haven't updated your information, please do that. I did get a couple of requests for connections, and I'm not sure that that form is up to date. So if you haven't entered your information, please do so. Or if any of your information has changed, please go ahead and update that. Events, yes, Financial Literacy Month is over, but that doesn't mean that we're not continuing to promote the fantastic events that are taking place the rest of the year. And the only way I can help do that by populating our shared calendar and our social media channels is if you tell me what's happening. So I am looking for events that are happening, well now, May through until September. And then I think we'll do a redo into the fall. But please get me information for events that you may be either hosting or presenting at for May, June, July, and August for sure. And I've had a couple of people email me and say, where do I find the links to add my information? If you look at the bottom of every e-newsletter I send out, there is a section called, I think it's useful links. Under that, you will find hyperlinks to the partner collaboration form. There's a link to the event Google form, as well as our social media channels. So the useful links section of our e-newsletter is down below. It stays pretty consistent or pretty constant. The information at the top of the newsletter is what changes with each distribution, because that's the most current information that changes. But the evergreen information down below is where you can readily and easily access the links that you need to fulfill these items. For those who were not aware, thanks to the Michigan Credit Union Foundation Government Affairs Department for making it possible for April to be proclaimed as Financial Literacy Month in the state of Michigan. So House Resolution 261 did happen, and it's good to make folks aware of the work that is being done by you all, the legislators, to be aware of what is happening, because I'm not sure that they are always aware. So this is just one more way to keep them apprised of the work that we're doing. And also it's just a good way to keep particularly media informed of our activities, because I know that many of the news outlets do monitor resolutions that come out of the legislature. So just wanted to let everyone know that that did happen. And thanks again to the Government Affairs Department at Michigan Credit Union Foundation. Some programming updates, which are starting to wind down because April is kind of the big push. The Smart Money Michigan Kids Read program, so far I've heard nothing but great success. And now I'm just waiting for libraries to submit their participation numbers. Now I know that we distributed over 8,000 copies of this year's book. So we can certainly utilize that number. And it was even more than that because we did a special programming with Kalamazoo KRESA. But for libraries on the call, if you haven't yet submitted your actual participation numbers, please do that. And it's the same link that you used to request copies of the book. So if you need that link again, you can simply email me and I will send it back out to you. But it is the same form. There's just an added question at the very end of that survey. So please go and enter your actual participation numbers, which could vary slightly from the number of books that you requested, either up or down by a few. But we know that that program went well. Everyone got their books, even some late requests we were able to scramble and handle. We love the book, Count on Pablo. And so anyone who works with Michigan, really preschool through 5th grade, I want to talk a minute about the Smart Money Magic Show, which is all pre-recorded, available on demand in individual segments. So pre-K through 5th grade educators that would like to utilize those segments, either all of them, I think we ended up with 9, including Spaceman Joel reading the Planet Z and the Money Tree book, if teachers wanted to have students read along or have him read to them in lieu of an in-classroom guest reader. All of those segments are available on demand. So classroom teachers can utilize segments in any order they choose. They can pick and choose if there are certain topics that they want to focus on. They can work them into their lesson plans on dates and times of their choosing. Now, even though Financial Literacy Month has passed, we do still have 6 more weeks of school. So I'm asking of our group, anyone who has contacts with Michigan elementary educators, would you please get the word out that those segments are still available for teachers to use. I would love to get more participation, and it is statewide because there are no geographic boundaries when we have it available online on demand. So if you have questions about how to do that or how it works, we have an online book, Planet Z and the Money Tree. There are some associated activities. There's an online game. And then, of course, Spaceman Joel bringing the story to life in these 4 to 5 minute segments, each of which focuses on the teachable moment or the lesson that is contained in that book. I'd love to get a last, end of the year push with some more participation. And educators simply need to register. There's a link to a form where they simply register, and then I send them the playlist where they can access all of the videos and an information packet that contains the all of the supplements that go along with the magic show itself. So that is my ask of today, is if anyone has contacts in Michigan elementary schools or even preschool, could you please either put them in touch with me or me in touch with them? Ask them to email me at myfinancialwellness@gmail.com, and I would love to have more usage of this year's Magic Show segments. It's probably, I think, even better than last year, just because we have so many supplements that go along with the Magic Show this year. We learned a lot last year. It was our first time doing it digitally. And so I think this year is even better. I'd love to get more usage. If anyone has questions about that, we can chat about it later in the meeting and or offline one-on-one. So the other update I have, just going back to the Smart Money Michigan Kids Read, is for 2023, we are in the process of creating our own book for usage next year. And we're finally at the point, after a number of edits and numerous iterations of a story, I am putting together a very small, nimble task force to review the script and take a look at the illustrations. So I have library voice represented, I have a credit union representative, I have an educator, and this is going to be a group of people. The Library of Michigan is going to be involved. This is going to be a group of 5 or 6 people, and the commitment is really not onerous because I've done a lot of the work already over the last 2 years. But every year we've had a challenge with finding the right book that meets all of our criteria, because we have 6 criteria in making the selection of the book we use each year. And it gets more and more difficult every year to find a book that meets our needs in terms of the right target age, the right message, the length of the book, the price of the per unit cost, all of these factors. And so I began exploring 2 years ago the possibility of creating an original book, and we're very close to making that happen. So just as an FYI, as we go into the summer, my plan is to have all of this review done and back to the publisher so that it can have all the finishing touches and get ready for production, so that we have an original book ready for our Smart Money Michigan Kids Read to take place for next year's Financial Literacy Month. So that's kind of a big deal, something I've been working on quietly for the past nearly 2 years. And I feel like we're really going to have this baby. So that's very exciting, and I wanted to share that with everyone here today. If anyone has thoughts or questions or comments, that sounds great. My only feedback I heard from one of the last book was that there were too many words for a story time. Oh, okay. Okay. So yeah, so with the storybooks that we read, sometimes librarians will kind of either read half the book and say, okay, now kids, you have a copy of this to take home, and your parents can finish reading the story with you, at home. So yeah, thanks for that feedback. And we've had books that were really text dense, like the Berenstein Bears books, and that was definitely a concern. Librarians just, adapted and would either kind of skim the story or read half of it and send it home. But yes, we're very, cautious about not repeating that. So thank you for that feedback. Okay, so I'm going to ask Alicia if you could unmute and give us, I'm calling it programming reflections, and about our Funding the Future. So for those who don't know, Alicia is I think it's executive director of Funding the Future, which is our musical financial literacy program for high school and middle school students, and have some exciting reflections about this year's spring tour. So Alicia, take it away.
All righty. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you great.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you. Well, so we were so excited to be in Michigan again this year during Financial Literacy Month. For those of you that don't know what Funding the Future does, we have two musical bands, artists that travel across the country, and they're based out of Nashville. They travel to middle schools and high schools and talk about, they rock out with the students for 20-25 minutes and then do a financial literacy message. And it's just really near and dear to their heart, talking about payday loans, the importance of saving, and debunking the hype of making just money overnight. So it's really a message that hits home with a lot of high school, middle school students. In Michigan, one more thing I want to add is that there are two people behind the scenes, myself and then Cheryl, who works a lot with the high schools and middle schools to book the schools. And so she worked with some of you people that are on this call behind the scenes to get all of this done. So thank you all for the connections in Michigan. We continue to grow. This year we did 2 live streams, and then visited 9 high schools and middle schools, which were 7 of them were new, which is exciting because that's 7 schools that we impacted across the state. Of those, there was almost 3,000 students. If you add in all of the staff, it would have been over 3,000 people we impacted in the state of Michigan. So exciting there. You can see the list of everywhere we went. It was a good tour across because we went all the way over to Grand Rapids and Kalamazoo area. So that was exciting, a pretty good tour. We had a few sponsors that were mainly all Raymond James advisors. Anthem advisors there were Colleen is amazing. Those of you that know Colleen Schoen. And then Dominic Prioli, Dan Wizanowski. And then we had some advisors from Sinclair Wealth and Duda Wealth, and they're in the all up in Michigan. We do have, we would like to, if you all know anybody that wants to get their bank, credit union, financial advisor, anywhere like that, these students like to go to the bank after bank, credit union, financial advisor, to look to them for mentoring or support. So it's so important to get people in local communities involved, whether it's a donation, a full sponsorship, anything like that. Let me know. My information is on the website or on your, I can't remember what you called it, but your touch base. All of our information is there, or you can go to our website, fundingthefuturelive.org. Just to update what we have coming up, we do have some exciting things coming up. We only usually go to Michigan in April during Financial Literacy Month, but we have, we're going to be going to the MANS Expo, which is the Michigan Associate of Non-Public Schools, which is something a little different, in Lansing, Michigan on November 3rd through the 4th. So we're picking up some schools up there in Michigan during that time. If you have anyone that wasn't able to get in on this list and is interested, we've been in touch with some schools in Flint, Dexter, and Clinton Township already. So we'll add some more if you have some, so reach out.
Thanks, Alicia. So I am excited to have this in the, go ahead.
Okay, so do you do this during school time, or when do you do this?
So great question. I was going to say something about that. We usually do it during, so we have shows, whether it's at 8 o'clock first thing in the morning, 11 o'clock, usually are 2 school times. I was going to add, if you have organizations like we do boys and girls clubs, things like that after school too. So if you have an organization in your community that you think that something like this might be great for them to listen to, let us know. We usually like to have a minimum of like 200 kids that come, because it helps, pay for it for the artist to come all the way there, makes that ROI for them. But let me know, because we can maybe get a neighboring boys and girls club to come, or whatever you have. Lots of ideas are floating around. But yes, we do it after school if we need to. Sometimes we do evening events for like the Man's Expo. It could be an evening event if something like that were to come up. So things like that. So good question.
So because of the the setup and tear down, it is pretty extensive. I've been to the shows, and it is, they're basically doing a full blown concert. So, lighting and sound checks and all of that you would expect with a concert. So Alicia, I just wanted to mention to folks that on a day, like the ideal scenario is they would be doing a show in the morning. They would be doing a show either midday or early afternoon, right? So like 2 shows a day is pretty typical, right? Like that's a goal. And then you're mentioning that there also could be an evening show. So if they were in town for 2 dates or 3 dates, it's conceivable that we could do, 6 to 9 shows over the course of those 3 dates.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so just so people understand, it's not like they can come in, do a show, and 30 minutes later go do a second show. It's a larger undertaking than that, but certainly the goal is always to have 2 shows a day to make it worth the travel and and all of that. So, and this year that worked out pretty well.
It did.
Yeah.
And,
Cheryl is a queen. She's a queen of scheduling.
Yes. And Michigan is quite large. So in order to get, from one to the other, schools really worked out that they were like, oh, we'll work with your dates so we can, get from place to place. It worked out really, really well. So we weren't bouncing back and forth.
Right. Yes, because once you're on the west side of the state, it makes sense to do like, the Grand Rapids area all on one day, or the Kalamazoo area. Yeah, because 3 hours back and forth.
Takes a little bit. Yes. So it was a lot of fun though.
Awesome.
Is that a question for me?
Yes. So what I would suggest, Alicia, if you would send me a blurb, the question was, is there information or verbiage we can send out to our partnering schools in an email? What I would suggest is, Alicia, why don't we do this as a follow-up? Why don't you send me just a brief blurb that I can include in the e-newsletter that I send out as a follow-up to this meeting?
Okay.
And then it would go out to everybody, including those who are on this Zoom, presuming that everyone who's on this Zoom is subscribed to our e-newsletter. So I'll use this as the moment to remind folks that if you're here today as a guest of someone else, and you're not yet subscribed directly, you need to do that today. Go to myfinancialwellness.org on the partner page and fill out the form to get into our email distribution, because then you'll get information firsthand and not have to rely on other people to forward things to you. So Alicia, if you get me just a small, 2 or 3 sentences, then I can put that into the e-newsletter that I'll probably send out on Monday as a follow-up to this Zoom.
Okay. Sounds great. Will do. Thank you all. And we really appreciate our time in Michigan. Thank you.
Yes. And again, a shout out to Dawn, who's with KRISA, for helping us to penetrate that side of the state. She's got some amazing things going on over there. And thank you, Alicia, for providing the update. All right, Derek, can you please unmute and take us through some reflections about this year's Economics Challenge, Personal Finance Challenge also?
Sure. We had our events in person, which was really great. The teachers appreciated that. The students appreciated that. And back when we had to make the decision, it was still a little bit iffy. So I'm glad that everything worked out, and the Macomb ISD was able to host us for our event on April 29th. It's the first time we've ever done the Economics Challenge and the Personal Finance Challenge on the same date. The teachers seemed to appreciate that because they didn't have to worry about getting a sub on a second day, because that's a big hurdle for them. Macomb ISD was a little bit far for some of our teams that are on the western part of Metro Detroit, but they felt that the facility was perfectly suited for the event. So they kind of said those things balanced out a bit. And the Economics Challenge, you can see our winners there. Our Adam Smith division is our upper division. Chelsea High School won that, and Troy High School was the runner-up. And then David Carter, our lower division, the Troy High School was our champion, and International Academy and the Okma campus was our runner-up in that. So that event, the Economics Challenge, was in the morning. And then we had the Personal Finance Challenge in the afternoon. with about an hour split between the two events for students to get lunch. Because when they come, we feed them, and we have games during these events while we're doing some scoring, give away gift cards, do some door prizes, and make it a very fun event for the students. Personal Finance Challenge, we had a financial reality fair that was coordinated by Colleen Godfrey from Michigan Schools and Government Credit Union. It's again one of those partnerships that Kelly talks about where we can plug into each other. We provided the students and they provided the volunteers for the reality fair to happen when the students were not presenting their case study presentations to the judges, because what happens with the Personal Finance Challenge is a week before the event, they were given a financial situation. They had a week to prepare a presentation to a panel of judges. And we also, for the first time this year, again, another partnership that's connected to this organization, the Center for Financial Planning had Zoom calls with the student teams to give them some advice and feedback on what they had prepared so far as they were getting ready for their final presentations on that Friday. So on Wednesday and Thursday, we did some Zoom calls with actual financial planners. So it's really a lot of learning, not just this competition where they don't get much out of it other than giving their presentation. They have a lot of learning while they're preparing, as well as when they're getting advised from a real financial planner. So Chelsea High School was our champion. Once again, they are very good at the balance of good presentation skills and knowing their stuff. And then runner-up was International Academy. And all of these students, both challenges, will go on to compete in a regional test to see if they qualify for the national competitions in New York, where they would be given all expense trip to New York to compete for more prizes in the New York national competition. So it was a very good event. We had over 100 students, 11 different schools. There were some schools that competed in one challenge, but not the other. I talked to one teacher, the Troy High School teacher, who obviously does very well in the economics challenge. He's like, we've got to do that personal finance challenge next year. So I think there's definitely some momentum toward, getting some increased participation in the personal finance challenge, because I mean, it is very hard to connect and get teachers to do anything that's out of their normal routine, because they're just pulled in so many different directions. And it's a lot of the little things like the permission slips and getting the student email addresses and just little stuff that needs to happen to make an event like this happen. So Marianne wanted to know the 11 schools that participated. I can pull that up for you, and just give me a second here. Let's see. All right, I'm just going to read them off. This is from Economics Challenge, and then I think there was just one. There were two additional for Personal Finance Challenge. So Ann Arbor Huron High School, Chelsea, Clinton, Cranbrook Kingswood Upper School, International Academy East, International Academy Macomb, Lake Orion, Plymouth Canton, Troy High School, and then Saline High School participated in only the Personal Finance Challenge, and Country Day was going to participate but had to step out at the last minute. So those are some of the schools that participated this year in the competition.
Awesome. So did you like having both on the same day yourself? I mean, I know it's more convenient for transportation. How did it work for the execution on your side?
It was a lot of work, but it did work. I think it is good to have it both on the same day. I think I will target to do that again next year. But I mean, like any event, and a lot of us here have hosted big events like this. You don't realize the 2 hours that it takes to print name tags and put the little cards in a holder. It's
Right.
little things like that times 100. So
Right.
Yep.
And I'm sorry I missed it. It's one of my favorite things of the year. All right. And Derek, would you be willing to send me a couple sentences that I could include in the e-newsletter?
Yeah.
Just like a couple sentence follow-up, maybe recognizing the winning schools. And if you have a great picture, maybe I can include a picture.
Yeah, there's always good pictures. but
Yes,
we
I
got some
know.
of those.
So if you would, that would be great. And I'll have it, I'll put it together, between now and Saturday, and then I'll probably send it out on Monday. So if you're able to send me 2 or 3 sentences as a reflection and send me a picture, that would be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, Personal Finance Challenge sponsored by the Credit Union Foundation, great partners to work with for so many different things. And Amerisure has been a solid sponsor of our Econ Challenge for a long time too.
Very good. Thank you so much. And if you wouldn't mind, Derek, just keep chatting. Because as we wind up the school year, I wanted to remind folks who work with kindergarten through 8th graders that we have an amazing resource in Smartpath. So can you just give us the highlights of how this would work for a non-classroom educator, right? So if somebody works with youth, let's say in summer programming, or could this work with a library? Could this work with a Boys and Girls Club? Can you just, give us a Cliff Notes?
Yeah.
You did a presentation a couple months ago, but I don't want to presume that everyone who's here today who might have programming and access to youth over the summer would know how this would work for them.
Yeah, it really would fit well. Every grade band has 3 lessons, and you could just do one of the 3 lessons. You could do all of the 3 lessons. You could even do multiple grade bands. I don't think there's too much of a difference between the 1st and the 2nd grade content, or the 2nd and 3rd grade content. If you have a certain age range of students, it takes through all 3 lessons, kind of a story through all 3 lessons with the characters. And it changes characters by grade band. So you've got these characters, they're faced with some decisions that they have to make throughout these 3 lessons. So the lessons basically consist of some content presentation during videos, some interactive drag and drop type of things that you would do as a group. And then there's typically like a 20-minute type of short activity that you could do with your group of students that you have. So, it's perfectly suited for any of those situations that you were mentioning, Kelly. And because the Credit Union Foundation, we've got it available everywhere in the state. We have, it was over 150 over 150 classrooms had already used it so far in the first quarter of 2022. And there are
fantastic.
Yeah, there are some learning guides for all access, and some racial and social justice guides as well that have been utilized. And kind of another addition to the Smartpath package is the puppets, that they have some short videos with a live puppeteers, because it's animated for the regular Smartpath lessons, but there's some video lessons that have been shown on PBS that have won some awards in Ohio for the puppets kind of extension to Smartpath. So it really can be as big or as small as you want it to be with all the resources that are there.
So I need to update that second bullet point, because initially we were focusing on school, teachers. And but what I learned is that through the generous support of the Michigan credit unions, there's no cost for libraries or nonprofits or other, social service organizations, government agencies who work with youth. It's available at no cost to all of those organizations because it is underwritten by the Michigan Credit Union Foundation.
And each lesson takes about 45 minutes. So again, it can be perfectly suited to just doing one lesson or doing all 3 at different times, whatever works.
And is that still prominent on your website? So if folks wanted to go check it out, they can go to michiganecon.org, right?
Yeah, they could definitely definitely find it there.
Okay. Yeah, and I also have it on our webpage as well if folks forget how to find it. So awesome. Thank you. The other thing I want to mention, so in addition to looking for underwriting support for the fall tour of our Funding the Future initiative in November, we are looking for underwriting support for the Fempreneur Summit that is scheduled for September 19th. Very excited to be back in person. We figure, after the summer and folks have been outside all summer and we're back to, the real world, so to speak, after Labor Day. We think that September 19th will be a very good date for female entrepreneurs, a small business summit that we've done over the past 5 or 6 years now, and to be able to do it in person. Really one of the first, professional development or networking opportunities for small business owners after the summer months. And we are looking for underwriting support. We expect to have in the neighborhood of 100 to maybe 120 female business owners that will come together for a day of learning and growing and networking and collaboration, partnership development. It is a very powerful day. We are again holding it at the Vista Tech Center on the campus of Schoolcraft College here on the border of Livonia and Northville. And so we're seeking underwriting partners, we're seeking volunteers, we're seeking some subcommittee co-chairs. There'll be a series of panel discussions, some mini workshops throughout the day. So we're just looking for helpers of all kinds. If you have an interest in being part of this Female Entrepreneur Summit, please email me because we are starting the work to pull this together. And Heather Doring is my co-chair for this event. And we'd love to have additional people involved who are interested in working with female small business owners. Derek, do you want to speak briefly? I mean, I can, but I think it'd be better to hear from you. Update on House Bill 5190, the proposed personal finance graduation guarantee.
Sure. Well, the movement, I know people can kind of read what's there. The movement is that it sounds like, and this can always change, that May 10th, it will be brought for testimony in front of the Senate Committee on Education and Career Readiness. So that is the big deal. That's the big change. It's a Republican bill. The Republicans control the House and the Senate. It passed through the House basically along party lines. And the reason for that, some Dems did vote for it, who are more moderate, but a lot of the Dems voted no because that was kind of the directive by the Michigan Educational Association. They didn't really give a very clear issues that they had with the bill, and it was all kind of quick. And so after that vote happened, sometime after that vote happened, obviously that bill was sitting in the Senate, and the governor's office started talking to the MEA and saying, okay, well, this is one of our things that we care dearly about. We want to increase financial awareness and financial wellness in Michigan. And so what's the problems with the bill? Let's make it better. Let's improve it. And had some discussions with the MEA, and I have not seen the final edited bill from what we saw in the House. In the House bill, because you cannot add a graduation requirement because of the way the Michigan merit curriculum is, you have to take something away, and they were taking away a semester of the 2-year foreign language requirement in the original bill. Want to make sure everybody understands we have the highest foreign language requirement in the whole country with 2 years requirement. It obviously, taking away a requirement doesn't preclude somebody from taking 4 years, but it's just again what the minimum bar is going to be for a graduating Michigan student. So it would reduce down to a year and a half. The edited bill supposedly gives local districts flexibility to pull that half credit from math, art, or foreign language, not just from the foreign language as it originally stated. So it gives the locals a little bit more flexibility. That was enough to get the MEA to kind of move their, sounds like, official position from against it to neutral. And when they move to neutral, that frees up the Democratic caucus to decide how they want to vote, and to give the green light to voting yes if members want to vote yes without having to worry about any of the political complications that might come from that in an election year. So I guess if I was going to look into my crystal ball and look forward, I would think on May 10th that it will hear testimony, knowing that it's a Republican bill and the Republicans control that committee. It will pass through that committee. My hope is that you see the Dems sign on to that. So we'll have a good read on that when the committee votes on it and we see whether it's still split by party or not. Then it will go to the full Senate. It will pass through the full Senate either way, because again, the Republicans have control of the Senate, and then it will be on the governor's desk. And if the MEA is neutral, that kind of frees the governor up to sign it into law. So it could be as soon as the end of this month, because it can move quickly, or they could just sit on it after hearing the testimony. But my guess is because it polls very well, and that's one of the reasons why the governor's office was, really involved in this. They saw how well it polled, over 80% of people in Michigan wanting this to happen, that they'll make sure that it happens at a time that's going to help, the people who are running for re-election, I would suppose. So there's gonna be some politics, I suppose, in the timing, but I really think it could happen as soon as the end of May for it to become a law. And that would not really impact students until this year's, again, this is if nothing else changes, this year's 7th graders would be the first grade that would be required to have it before graduation. So there would be a definite roll-in time that would happen where we would be focused on making sure that the teachers are prepared to teach the course, and the districts are having the resources they need to roll it out.
So, and then you also mentioned that for students who might be interested in testifying in support of the bill, what does that mean? Like, what does that look like? If someone said, I know a student, or, students maybe who were part of the personal finance challenge, like, what does that look like for them?
Yeah, we've asked the team from Chelsea if they'll testify. We have materials to help the students with preparing their testimony. It's basically 2 minutes. It can either be virtual or live, where they would give their feelings as to why it should or shouldn't become a requirement in Michigan. So again, we have kind of guidelines to help students prepare their testimony in a Google Doc that we share with students who are going to testify. But it's really the most powerful testimony when you look at across the country where this is happening. And Georgia just became the next state to require it, just I think in the past week or so. I think we're now up to 13 states, and that's like double where we were maybe a year ago. So it's really a lot of momentum on this type of legislation happening across the country. The most impactful testimony is always from the students. So that's why we want to encourage the students to be involved, and it's a great way for them to get involved in the political process, see how all of this works, and what better way to understand government than get involved in something like this.
So when you said it could be virtual or it could be in person, so it would literally be in person on May 10th, or sending a recorded video, is that?
Yeah, it's not a recorded video. They would be able to, and this is unless something's changed, I've got to look from last time when we were in November there, but they're still allowed to do virtual testimony, which would just be like what we're doing right now via Zoom.
I see. Okay.
Because they have the Zoom up on those screens and everything in the committee rooms. So I don't think that that's changed. And then they can always submit written testimony if they don't want to be present for it. They can't be present for it. They could always submit written testimony to the committee as well. They would just find that information at the Senate webpage and in that committee webpage and send it to the committee clerk, and the committee clerk would make sure that the committee members have that in their packets.
Great. Wow. So this is moving along. When we first talked about this back in December, it was kind of a who knows. And we all kind of came to the same conclusion, like, why are they pulling this out of language, like we so it seems like, our intuition was, on mark. That now they're providing the flexibility for districts to make choices from where that half credit would get pulled, it makes a lot more sense to me now.
Mhm.
Awesome. So I know that we're coming close on the end of our meeting. I knew this would be a little bit of a longer meeting than normal, but I am sensitive to the time and people's commitments. I would like to get input from folks before anyone has to jump off the call. I know some of you have a hard stop at 9:30. So I would like to hear from folks either in the chat, or if you want to unmute and just share your thoughts about the summer months. We decided as a group collectively that we were going to expand our work, or expand our network, I should say. Not the work, because you all are doing the work year round, but we had decided that we were going to be a year-round network organization and get together monthly throughout the course of the year. But yet I've heard from some folks that summers are hard. And so we have dates on the calendar for, after today, we have June 8th for sure. I want to do that meeting for certain. And then we have, July 13th to avoid the Independence Day holiday. And then we have August 10th. And then a little bit later in September, mid-month, September 14th. So I'd like to hear from folks two things. One, do you think that it is still a good idea to meet every month over the course of the summer or not? And two, I'd like to hear from folks what you would like to get out of these meetings. I want to make sure that what we're doing is meeting people's needs. And if you have an idea for like a professional development session, if you have a topic or something that you would like to learn more about, we could go back to doing our 5-minute features. We learned about Michigan 529s from Diane at the MET and MESP. We've learned about Smartpath from Derek. We've learned about things from the Michigan Works organization. And then we got busy going into Financial Literacy Month and haven't done a 5-minute feature in a while. So I'd like to hear from folks. One, do you think it's worth still meeting every month over the course of the summer? And two, what are some, if you would like to do some more kind of little bit of deep dives on topics, or what would you like to get out of these meetings? And at the same time, I'd like to hear updates from folks as well. I'm not dismissing that. So. And so Sylvia, I haven't talked to you in a while. I'm going to pick on you. I'm going to ask you to go first.
Thank you, Kelly. So good morning, everyone. So what do I like to get out of these? I think that I enjoy these updates. I really enjoy hearing from Derek and what's happening with the Smartpath and with the House bill. I am totally on board with that. Everyone needs financial literacy early on. I really enjoyed in the past, we had you put us into breakout rooms where we were able to connect with other folks and just really meet people and start new partnerships. I did enjoy that. I think for the summer, the meetings we could probably have less over the next, maybe every other month.
Okay.
And then for agency updates, we are doing a lot right now with our education piece. So we have, we've got a very strong pre-purchase education program. We've got a strong financial management program. So we work with people to help strengthen their finances, talk about savings and credit, banking, debt reduction. We connect them to partners, our local partners, and connect them to products that help them with debt reduction and things like that.
So Sylvia, before you continue, I don't want to assume, tell us who you're with.
Oh,
I know who you're with, but why don't you tell the rest of the folks what organization you're with?
I'm sorry. I should not have assumed that. Everybody should know where I'm coming from, right? I'm sorry. So my name is Sylvia Saldana, and I'm the Assistant Director of Programs at Wayne Metropolitan Community Action Agency in Wayne County in Detroit. I oversee our housing counseling and education programs and our landlord engagement team. So
Awesome.
sorry, sorry about
Yeah.
that.
No. I just don't want people to hear saying, we do this and we do that. Well, who's we? I know who you are, but.
Yeah, no, thank you, Kelly, for that reminder. So yeah, we've got a strong financial management and pre-purchase. We're building on the rental space and homelessness, housing counseling. We're really trying to pick up our engagement with landlords to house folks that are coming through our homeless program. So any partnerships that you folks have or you think may be beneficial and you can help connect me, that would be very, very helpful.
So the one thing I would like to ask, and I don't know who in your organization I could get this from, but if you could facilitate having someone send me your list of upcoming workshops, I am not getting that information from you guys. So I know someone must have like a master calendar because you do a lot of educational programs, but no one's sending them to me.
I am sorry about that. I thought the calendar was being updated quarterly using a link.
Yeah, and if it's easier, because you guys do so many programs, but there are some that are very consistent that you offer repeatedly, right? Like if it's easier for someone to just send me like their spreadsheet or their Word doc instead of entering it into my form, that's fine. If they just want to send it to me in whatever format they have, instead of entering it into my Google form, I'm happy to glean the information off of their document.
I will do that.
Does that make sense?
I apologize. Yeah, I apologize for that. I thought that was being entered regularly. So I will send that over to you. If you want the whole annual schedule, I will send that over. And then if you want to enter it.
I don't have to enter it. If you send it to me, I can just literally glean it right off of your document and update our website from there. I don't have to put it into the actual form. And I've done that with other organizations that do a lot of the same programs over time. So it's tedious for someone to have to enter it into a form when they've already put it into their own document, right? So if you send me whatever that document is, that'd be great.
I will do that for sure.
And make sure that there's a link in there so that people can go to wherever you have people registering.
Yep, absolutely. I will do that.
Cool. All right, thank you so much. And thanks for the feedback too. I do like doing the breakout rooms when we have large groups. I do the breakout rooms, but when we have groups of, under 10 or 12 people, I like to hear what everybody's doing. And so when the groups get into the teens and up near 20, that's when I do the breakout rooms because it's just too much. We can't hear from everybody in the amount of time that we have. So I see Sharon, you're nodding. Do you want to go ahead and tell us who you are and what's going on and what you think about the summer and if there are any topics or things that you'd like to learn about?
Okay, I am Sharon Rogers. I'm from Capital Area Community Services, the Head Start side. I am I'm the community resource manager, where I'm over our parenting program, our governing body, and the literacy and whatever else has been added. And so I wanted to get involved with this group to learn more about the financial literacy and programs that are being done, because we service our preschoolers as well as their families. So I do want to say to Derek that I think that trying to get this into schools is a great idea. For example, that I do some couple of financial workshops, and I used to take my niece and nephew with me, and they didn't like it when I was taking them. And so when my nephew went to the service, he understood why taxes was taken out and all those things, but all the other young men who just graduated high school had no idea. So he tried to talk them through it. And he called me and said, you need to come and do a class for our guys. So I'm like, I just can't get up and come where you are. But, just he did learn something from coming to my classes, but I think if they had a program in school, this wouldn't be a surprise to the young adults when they go out on their own and realize that, yeah, a lot of taxes come out, and why that is. So I do agree. I'm hoping that that pass that you have there. And I just want to, I will say that for the month of July, we don't do our governing body meeting because a lot of people be taking vacations and stuff at that time. And so the date that is on here, I actually will be at a conference. So I wouldn't be able to make that. So I would just say if July might be a vacation month for everyone.
Right, right. Well, and Sharon, welcome. I know that you have, this is your first meeting, right?
It's
You
my
and I
first-
connected just recently, and welcome. I hope you can make these meetings. They're very powerful, very
Yeah.
beneficial. And from my lens, I think that your organization could use parts of Smartpath, and you could use our Smart Money Magic Show. So
Right, I took some notes. I wrote them down. I'm gonna go back on the site when we done with the meeting so I can try to get that information.
yeah, did I email you the information? I thought I emailed you the information for the magic show segments.
Yes.
Didn't I?
You
Okay,
did, but as I hearing about it, now I can go back and say, oh, okay, this is what all that meant. And
great, great.
Yeah.
Because I think both of those, Smartpath and our magic show program, would be very useful for you.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, welcome. I'm glad you're here.
Oh, well, thank you.
And also, since you're in the capital area, you might be a good contact for Alicia when in November, when we have Funding the Future coming to do that conference in Lansing. There might be an opportunity to do like a community concert or something through the schools that Sharon is part of. I know that you're focusing more on young kids, right? But
I have some connection with some of the high schools too. So when she was saying that, I was
yeah,
thinking, oh my gosh, I'm like a mile from one and 3 from the other. So I do go there and do other programs, which I was going to try to talk to somebody about it today when we get off.
right. So Alicia, make sure that I connect you with Sharon, because there might be an opportunity there to leverage some of her local relationships in the Lansing area.
Ooh, that's great.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So who am I going to hear from next? Ashley or Aldina?
This is Aldina from Lake Michigan Credit Union. I apologize for the background noise. I'm driving to
No
my
worries.
next meeting right now. So, but at Lake Michigan Credit Union right now, as far as for summertime, I am the main person that will be dealing with financial literacy within our community relations department. However, I'm going on maternity leave in about 4 weeks or less. So as far as like the meetings go, sadly, I will miss those throughout the summertime. But I am still new to this group, so I'm very intrigued by the 5-minute segments because I would love to find out more about who all is on this call as far as like us then connecting even further. That would be really good for us newbies who are on the call to just, find out who's all here and how we can connect and partner up. But as far as at Lake Michigan Credit Union right now, we just ended our scholar program, which we had 25 winners who got a $2,000 scholarship here in Michigan and then also in Florida, since we have branches there as well. And then right now we have a nomination program where locals can nominate a teacher, and we're going to pick 20 of the winners and they will get a $1,000 grant. So it's really exciting. We do this every single year, and it's such a fun way to connect with schools and all of that. It's also Teacher Appreciation Week this week. So we plan on not only just delivering goodies to the schools, but also just kind of me going out there and then the local branch managers going out there and just, introducing ourselves again, just because COVID separated a lot of that. And unfortunately, the connections kind of broke up during COVID time, where now we're trying to get back into the schools and reintroduce ourselves, drop off some goodies, and just kind of, offer what we have available for the teachers. And I loved the program that you have going on right now, and I forgot what it's called, Pregnancy Brain, I'm so sorry, the magic show.
Yes, smart
I
rush.
can totally think of my daughter's school right now, because she is in second grade, and right now they are going through the whole segment of money, like dealing with money, counting money, and all of that stuff. So I'm actually going to reach out to her teacher and see if that's something that she could squeeze into the next 5 weeks of school.
That's awesome. So Aldina, when you're back to your office, will you email me a link or something, some information about that teacher nomination thing?
Yes, most definitely. So it's called Roots in Education, and I will most definitely forward that on to you.
If you would forward that to me, and then that will be a trigger for me to respond to you and send you some specific information about the Smart Money Magic Show.
Perfect. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you. But
Yeah.
like my biggest thing, since I am so new to this, I would love to find out more about everyone in this group. And that as far as meetings, I'm okay with them being monthly.
Except you're not going to be here over the summer.
Exactly. But with the, summertime approaching, I know a lot of people will be out, so I'm not quite sure how that would all work out. And I feel like we would miss a lot of the audience that are in this call.
Right. Well, and congratulations on your impending
Thank you.
birth. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right. Ashley, are you there? Ashley, if you're there, can you unmute?
Hi, this is Lacey on behalf of Ashley.
Oh, okay, Lacey. So tell us who you are and some responses to my questions.
So my name is Lacey Cornell and I am with Extra Credit Union. And I used to work in the financial education department back from 2007 to 2012. And I just recently came back as of November of 2021. My job at the credit union is to build relationships with our schools in the community, as well as give financial education and resources. So what I'm getting from the meeting is ideas of how to get in to new schools and build those new relationships. I'm also going to be sending out the information for the magic show. And I asked for some information about the future, the band.
Oh, funding the future? Yeah.
Yes, funding the future, because I'm going to send that out to all of my local schools as well.
And what's your footprint? Where do you guys have branches?
So we are from Centerline all the way up. Our main branch is in Warren. Now our school partnerships go from Centerline all the way up to Yale, Michigan.
Okay.
So
cool. Very cool. Yeah. So the next e-newsletter that I sent, do you receive our newsletter?
I do. Yes.
Okay, great. So in the next e-newsletter, make sure that you open it and read it, because I'm going to have a blurb in there from Funding the Future. I'm going to have a blurb in there about follow up from our personal finance challenge, which will happen again for next school year, right? Next year. And the Smart Money Magic Show as well. So there'll be links in that e-newsletter for all of the things that you mentioned.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
So make sure and look for that. Hopefully I'll get it out Monday morning.
Perfect. Thank you.
I know Maria said that she had to jump off, but I just want to make sure if you are still on the call by chance, go ahead and unmute. We'd love to hear from you.
Hi, no, I'm here. I do have to, I'm glad I was about to say, oh, I gotta go.
Okay.
My name is Maria Johnson. I am a financial coach for this Financial Opportunity Center at Mott Community College, Workforce and Economic Development. We're in partnership with Michigan Works as well as LISC and Mott Community College. So we offer financial services to the community, free of their free services. We offer workshops, but primarily we do one-on-one coaching in whatever their financial needs are. Learning how to budget, credit, trying to improve their credit score, trying to improve their credit record. We also do employment coaching So we are a part of workforce and economic development. So we have job developers. So we work in tandem so we can help with trying to help them find jobs. We do help with the resume. We will help them with interviewing techniques, get them prepared to go do an interview so they put the best foot forward. So that's pretty much what we handle. Like I said, we do workshops too. It's open to anyone within Genesee County. You don't have to be involved with live or Michigan work. All you do have to be is want to improve your financial situation.
So Maria, do you have a document where your workshops, where you have all the information for your workshops that could be sent to me?
I could. Our workshops are virtual.
Right.
Yeah. So since once we went to pandemic, our workshops moved to virtual.
Which is the case of a lot of organizations, but I'd love to add your classes to our event calendar.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, if you send me whatever you use, whether it's a Word doc or an Excel spreadsheet or whatever, then I can just, carry that information over to our joint event calendar.
Okay. Yeah, because they're consistent, and so I'd be happy to do that. We run them for the Mondays of every month, and so the first Monday is orientation for people to learn about the Financial Opportunity Center, and then the second one is credit, and then the third one is on budgeting. And so we run them consistent. They're on the books every month, so it helps to remember when they are. So yeah, I'll be happy to send that.
That would be great. That'll save you from having to put them into my Google form. I'm happy to just use however your document is organized.
Okay. That will work.
Cool. So email that over to me. Great. That's great.
Okay, I will do that.
All right. Anything extra, Derek, that you want to add, or any questions that you have? You're my last person.
No, I've talked enough. I'm good. I've enjoyed hearing from everybody, and think that it's good to see these connections. And sometimes things happen now, sometimes things happen a year from now. So it's good.
Yeah. Do you have a second to stay on after we end the meeting so I can chat with you for a minute?
Yeah, I'll have 10 minutes max. Then I have a 9:50 meeting.
Got it. No worries. All right. So thank you everyone for attending our May Michigan Financial Wellness Network Zoom meeting. Great work, everybody, and such great connections. I'm very, very proud of the work that we're doing independently and collaboratively, and lots of great connections going forward. I'm always here. If you need anything, just reach out to me, myfinancialwellness@gmail.com. And I'm very responsive by email. So that's the best way to reach me. And I will see you all on June 8th. Thanks so much.